Welcome, spooky friends! If you happen to like illustration and ghost stories, you're in the right place. Grab a cup of coffee, sit tight, and let's start with this Halloween special of spooky stories. This story is by far the most terrifying story that ever happened to me. We used to visit my grandparents' house very often. I loved so much being there, especially because when my cousins were there, we would have even more fun. This day was exactly like that, but because they would live very far away, we weren't able to see each other as often as we wished. At the end of the day, they had another plans, and they would go visit her grandma from her dad's side. We didn't want to separate from each other, so she asked my mom if I could go with them, so we could spend more time together. My mom said yes, and we got very, very excited. That was the first time that I went to that house. And as soon as I got there, it reminded me my apartment. The same feeling of nostalgia, sadness, and a very heavy environment. I didn't care. I was happy. I was with my cousins, and that was all that mattered. We played hide and seek, but at one point it started to get dark, and I started to feel uncomfortable and scared. So I told my oldest cousin if we could just sit in the stairs and talk because I didn't want to play anymore. So we did. We sat in the middle of the stairs and she was telling me about this boy she liked at school. Our conversation at this point started to be more about boys and gossips than anything spooky. When all of a sudden it started to feel very cold. And then a voice, a woman's voice. She said my name. In my ear. It was so real, I even felt the cold breath in my ear. I was hoping it was my imagination. Maybe I was so scared, my mind was playing me games. But when I turned around and I saw my cousin's face, it was so pale. I could only think this was very real. She got up and ran upstairs as fast as I never saw her running again. She was screaming and crying, and I got up as well. Went behind her. We got to her grandma's room. There were my auntie and my uncle, and they tried to calm us down. And then her grandma gets close to me and says, "Oh honey, I'm so sorry this happened to you. I have to ask, was it a woman or a child's voice? I don't want you to be scared. These are friendly ghosts. They won't harm you." It was a lot for me to take. I was about 8 years old, and I never went back to that house. Apparently, this was a very normal thing. We still wonder why all this kind of stuff would only happen to us. It was weird and scary. Are you already spooked? Have you ever experienced something like that? Thanks for watching, and happy nightmares.